Hi everyone, my name is Andy and welcome to All Lonely Meeples. On this channel, I share solo playthroughs of various board games, including tutorials on how to play. As always, if you like this video, hit that subscribe button down below. Now today's video is a little different as I was going through my collection and I thought, I wish that game had a solo mode. And so I would go on BoardGameGeek.com and look through the forums, and sometimes there would be solo modes solo variants that users created, some that had never been play tested, some that had been tested several times, and then others that had no content available because that solo variant has not been published or put on BoardGameGeek or offered to other users. And so I decided to make a video of my top 5, as of right now, my top 5 board games that I have in my collection that I wish had solo modes. So here we go. The first game is Beez, designed by Dan Hallstad and published in 2020 by Next Move Games. I really enjoyed this game. It's a fun grid movement game where you have this bee token and you move them around the honeycomb trying to collect nectar, and the nectar comes in like two sizes, small circles and larger circles. And what you're doing is you're trying to be strategic in your movements and collect this nectar of different colors and score points based on set collection cards. So maybe I want all of the same type of nectar, or 4 of the same, or 1 in each color, so on and so forth. And there's some pattern building in it as well. And I'm really surprised no one has come up with a solo mode for this game, and my wife and I really enjoy it. And so that is the first game that I wish had a solo mode, is Beez. The next game that I wish had a solo mode is Four Gardens, designed by Martin Dolezal and published in 2020 by Korea Board Games Co. So I got Four Gardens kind of on a whim. I saw a playthrough of it and I was like, oh, I need that in my collection. And I've played it a few times, 2 players and 3 players. And it's just a fantastic resource management game where you have this large tower, and you can turn each of the 4 sections, and each side of the square of each section has different types of resources. Maybe 1 mushroom, or 2 water, or 3 this. And so in your turn you can choose, I believe it's action points, where you can turn one of the levels, which might turn the lower levels that you turns the upper levels too, and you're trying to complete cards by gathering resources and completing different cards that come in sets, and so it's a set collection game as well. And this one, I was also surprised, doesn't have a solo mode that has been tested yet. So I'm very excited I would love to get this back on the table and play it by myself. And so this would be one that I would really enjoy having a solo mode as well, and that is Four Gardens. The next game that I wish had a solo mode is Renature, designed by Michael Kiesling and Wolfgang Kramer and published in 2020 by Deep Print Games. Renature is such a beautiful game. So my wife and I don't necessarily like domino games. We play dominoes like Mexican Train and Chicken Foot when we're with large family gatherings, but that's pretty much the only time we ever played domino style games. But when it comes to Renature and having the domino pieces and animals on both sides, it was a really beautiful, intricate game where you're basically taking these animals and you're aligning them on the board and trying to get your tokens around different areas of this, I'll just say a farm, and collecting cloud tokens and collecting points. It's an area majority type game, and it's a fantastic game, and my wife and I love playing it. It's one of the several games that I've never won. My wife always wins, but it's a great game, and as of right now, there is no solo mode. And so I urge you, if you're watching this and you're good at making solo modes or designing games, I would love to have a solo mode for this. Something more than, something a little more intricate, but I will take whatever. And so that is Renature. The next game on my list, and definitely I'm gonna say one of the weirder games that I have, is Garum, designed by Ricardo Jorge Gomez and published in 2019 by Pythagoras. So I say weird because the theme is about making fish sauce. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm kind of a nerd. When I saw this game and I was like, Garum, I don't really know what that is. Looked it up, and it's a type of fish sauce, ancient fish sauce, that I don't think is made much anymore, but I did some research, and there's large studies about different types of fish sauce, especially in ancient civilizations. And so this game is just, it has, the picture is on the board, there's two sides, depending on the number of players, but it's people working in these large pits making the sauce. And you're basically, you have these tiles, and they have different colors on them, and you have your color, and if you play with 4 players or even 2, the other players have their other colors. And so you're trying to go vertical and horizontal rows and columns. You're trying to score the most points by getting as many of your colors aligned in each of the rows and columns, and then claiming those spots at the very ends before the other players do. And you only have so many small meeples, which score you, a certain amount of points. You have a card that tells you if your small meeple is aligned with this many of your color, you get this many points. If it's like 6 or less, you lose points. And then you have your large meeples. I'll just call them meeples for now. Your large meeples that score even more points. So you try to really balance out how, when I place a tile, which I have to do I want to go ahead and score this early? Because at some point in the game, when so many of those spots have been taken up, you're not allowed to place people anymore, because at that point you already know most of the information, because all those tiles have been placed. And so I love the timing in this game, and the theme is pretty interesting, and definitely it's not as mainstream as the other themed games that I have, and that is Garum. And to finish out my list of games that I own that I wish had solo modes is Camel Up, designed by Stefan Bogen and published in 2014 by Z-Man Games. So I currently own the first edition of the game, not the newer one, I believe in 2018. So I own the original and the expansion Super Cup. And my family loves this game. When we go out of state to see more family, we play board games about all throughout the day, every day while we're there. And Camel Up is always one that we play. It's just fun, betting on the camel racing and having the camels stack on top of each other. If you have not played this game, I highly recommend it. It's fun. Kids will enjoy it. And I believe when I looked on the BoardGameGeek, I think there may have been a solo variant, but it hadn't been tested very much. And so I'm eager to try that out and see, but I would love to have a solo variant that people have tested and that works, and especially works with the Super Cup expansion as well. And that is Camel Up. Thank you for joining me for my 5 games that I have in my collection that I wish had solo modes, either official from the designer or fan-made solo modes through BoardGameGeek or other sites. And I hope you'll join me at the table for my next playthrough.